Y'all, I am out of town right now, going on my first cruise ever. So I the week before, but this is for the narrative lectionary reading for Mark 4 1 through 9. In this one, it's the parable of the sower. So Jesus is telling this story, and there's no context around it. It really doesn't tell us what's happening. But this huge crowd is gathered, and he tells he tells many parables, but the one that it shares in this story is the story of a sower, a planter, someone who's planting seeds, and they plant in many different soils. And so there's all kinds of ways to look at this particular parable, and I think every angle you look at it, you get something new or something different, and that's pretty cool. And so this time I went from the angle of what how do I receive wisdom? So let's assume that the seed is wisdom, and the soil is different states that I am in at given times. So the first seed is planted on a path, and I find um, that when things are common, a path is common. A path is a place everybody walks, and when somebody shares a truth with me or wisdom that seems like common knowledge or common wisdom, I find myself sometimes like rolling my eyes, like, oh yeah, yeah, of course I should do that. But I never do that because it's common knowledge and my problems are complicated. And so I don't do that. I don't follow common wisdom or knowledge because I think I'm better than that or above it. And the very next story, Jesus is asked why he always teaches in parables, and I think maybe this is also an answer to that question. Why would Jesus speak in parables? Because if it's common knowledge, if it's just thrown out there like, oh, you should do this, like if we were really given direct instructions in the Bible, would we follow them? I don't know that we would. I don't know. I don't think many of us would. We're prideful creatures that don't like hearing directions and instructions, and instead, if we really are going to receive and apply a truth, we have to chew on it for a little while. We have to mull on it, which means it's got to be hidden a little bit. And I think one of the reasons that Jesus spoke in parables was because we needed to chew on things and learn them for ourselves in some way. And so you had to hide truth or it never gets received. If the truth is just thrown on the path, as in this story, the birds just eat it up. Nobody does anything with it. So the second seed was planted on rocky soil. In the rocky soil, the plant springs up quickly and then it dies off because it gets scorched by the sun. And I've seen this with a lot of times in the church world. We have these things we call shooting stars, and it's these people that they get really excited about something, and they go in and they volunteer for this and this and this and this, and they quickly stop volunteering for all those things and then disappear from the church. And the thing is, I see this in my own life too. Like, this isn't just these shooting stars in the church. Like, I am a shooting star in so many ways. I'll hear about something that I want to learn about, or I'll hear about something I want to do, and I'll dive in. I mean, I'll stay up real late every night researching something, or join Facebook groups and talk to people about. Like, I dive in. When I dive into something, I go in. But like, I'll learn and learn and learn, and then I just stop, and it's like, oh yeah, I've had enough of that. I'm done. And so I find this in my own life that I will spring up really quickly, and then it dies away. And I think the same is true with truth, that if we receive wisdom or we receive truth and we just dive right in and try to do everything, that we burn ourselves out and we get scorched by the sun, just like this plant did. There's something about truth and wisdom that has to be done slowly. You can't do this quickly. You can't receive wisdom. You can't receive truth quickly. It's something that has to marinate and slowly simmer for you to really be able to apply it. It's a slow forming process, not just a quick answer to a question. Again, I think a reason why would Jesus speak in parables? Jesus speaks in parables because we need to slowly receive it. We have to look at these parables from different angles to really understand it. So the third seed, it falls among the thorns, and it gets choked out. And And for me, I've noticed that when I am in the wrong headspace, when I'm prickly, when I'm thorny, um, I don't hear anything. I don't hear anything that someone else is saying. I mean, I may hear it on the surface, but I don't really process it or think about it. And I think if we're in the wrong headspace, we're not going to hear wisdom or truth that people give us. And I think we need to be mindful of that when we're sharing truth to people. If they're not in the right headspace, it doesn't matter how true what we say is, they're not going to hear it. And Jesus talked about don't throw your pearls to the swine. I don't think it's that people are permanently swine, but or less than or anything like that. It's just sometimes we're prickly, sometimes we're thorny, and when we're in that headspace, there's no point in throwing your wisdom, which the pearl is your wisdom, your truth. There's no point in sharing that with them at that point. Wait for a good time. The final seed fell on good land, and it produced manyfold what was put into it, and that's the truth of it, is that when we receive wisdom and we receive it, when we mull on it and we think we came to it ourselves, and when we spend time with it and we let it marinate and ruminate, and when we receive it without being prickly, when we do all of those things, truth and wisdom in our lives will have a deep impact, profound impact, affecting more than we would think from just the one little thing. Um, so I believe that that's one way to look at this parable. I hope you enjoyed it. If you like these videos, it would really help me a lot if you would click the like button down below, and if you would click the button to get notified anytime these come out. The more they get watched, the more they get put in front of other people. And I am currently watching these to determine whether it's worth continuing doing them in YouTube video format or whether I should just stick to writing on the blog. I get a little bit more traffic on that. Be able to do a little bit of both, but I don't want to keep doing them in parallel every week. So if you're interested and you want to comment down below about which format you prefer, or if you haven't actually read the blog before, and the way that I present the information that way, you should check that out. It's www.monasticpastor.com. Either way, thanks for watching. I appreciate you. Bye.